And tonight we have Game 6 of the NBA Simulation Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks have come back from down 2-1 in the series and now have a 3-2 lead, and that's mainly due to huge second halves. Big game. How do the Lakers stop themselves from having these very poor shooting second halves, such as shooting 25% and 24% in the past two games?
Well, it seems from the games they've lost, these back-to-back games, we saw LeBron James and Anthony Davis really struggle in the second half. We saw, their two superstars have been dominant in the first half of games, especially LeBron James, but um, they just in the second half they've just been shut down. They've shot poorly. Their defense has been very bad. I expect their defense to be a lot better tonight, throughout the game. And their bench, we saw Kyle Kuzma have a great game. We've seen Caldwell Pope have good games, but in the last two games, the bench also plays in that second half, and the bench has struggled as well in those times. And the Bucks have just, the last two games have just went on tears in the second half of games and taking control of the series with the chance to end it here tonight.
And on the Bucks side, big game. They've just been able to stick around in those first halves, and whether it's been Giannis keeping them there or then his teammates helping him out if he just doesn't have the best first half, but he's come out for both the second halves in the past two games. What are the changes Lakers need to make on defense to stop his huge second halves, just Giannis wise?
Well, I've seen Brook Lopez shoot very poorly in the series. I'd like to see maybe Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, or whoever's guarding him at the time, lay off of him a little bit. Um, allow Brook Lopez to shoot and see what happens. Obviously, if he gets hot, then you might, put that down. But in reality, you just can't have the a free wide open lane and having Giannis Antetokounmpo just drive and throw down easy dunks after easy dunks.
And there's the first shot of game 6, and it'll be Avery Bradley shooting a mid range, but seems like he got tipped out of bounds off the rebound by McGee. It looked like it was Lopez, but I guess not. Big game. How has Eric Bledsoe been able to be so dominant shooting wise in the finals so far?
Well, it's been crazy after we've seen him have multiple poor performances in the playoffs. All of a sudden, here in the Eastern Conference Finals and the Finals, he's all of a sudden turned on the heat, shooting the ball. He's played very well as LeBron turns it over here in the Bucks on the run. And y- it's just as Middleton down low gets the first bucket for the Bucks, and it's tough for the Lakers to have any real spark on the offensive end late in games when LeBron and Anthony Davis are shooting poor because they really don't have a great third option. Kuzma's there, but Kuzma has only been here two games in this series it seems like.
And those two games came early in the series, and truly without that game, you wonder how this series would have gone. That game two in Milwaukee, Kuzma had 17 points. If he didn't do that, you wonder where the Lakers would be at this point. And Caldwell Pope had a good start to the series in the first two games, but he hasn't done much since. It's been Rajon Rondo as the lone person off the bench doing anything. And so far in this game, Lakers ice cold to start, and Giannis goes 1 for 2 on that trip from the line. Now misses there. Lopez misses off the offensive rebound. Another rough start for both these teams.
And we've seen that happen multiple times in this series where both teams have shot poorly in the first quarter of these games.
Big game. Do you know why that's going on? Is it going to be fatigue or just these teams knowing each other so well with defensive wise, or because it seems they get better as the game goes on, with the exception of the past two games to the Lakers, it's just been very poor in the second half.
Well, you'd think at the start of games, obviously, teams come out cold shooting all the time. The pressure of the finals definitely on them. But you also figure, the longer we go into the series, as you said, the defenses, both coaches watching film start to understand things more, see things more that they can change. And so I do think that also causes, these tough starts for both teams.
And big game, do you think if the Bucks lose here tonight, who do you think he's got a better chance, or who's the favorite in Game 7 if that were to happen.
Well, I really think it depends how this game goes. I think if it's a close game, the Lakers pull it out. Their confidence is back. But Giannis dunks all over Anthony Davis, I believe. Yes, it was Davis. Oh, a major slam there, posterizer. I would give the edge to the Bucks if it's a close game. If the Lakers blow them out, I could see, Lakers continuing their hot run and winning Game 7. But in all reality, I'd give the edge to the Bucks being at home. And I think they've had more dominating games in these playoffs than the Lakers have.
Interesting point there, big game. And that posterizer right there by Giannis has kind of highlighted Anthony Davis's difficulty to guard Giannis Antetokounmpo in this series, especially in these past few wins for the Bucks. It's been embarrassing games for Anthony Davis, and now another alley-oop and a timeout by the Lakers. They are down by 7 early, which has not been common for them. They've won the first quarter in almost every single game or been tied after one, so this is a surprising big game.
Yeah, it is, especially at home too. The Lakers were pretty good at home all year long, so pretty shocking, especially this late in the playoffs to see another poor start out of them at home.
And now we get to see both these benches go at it. Other than Anthony Davis will stand for the Lakers. So big game. You said in Game 5 you'd like to see them maybe miss and match the lineups a bit more for Frank Vogel and put Anthony Davis and LeBron separated, as they're not doing the best in those second halves together. So maybe let the bench have some kind of momentum with the star in their lineup.
And I think Davis is a better option with Kuzma than LeBron is. Kuzma better with the ball in his hands, and a good post-up scorer. So I think that bonds well with Davis. The Bucks score yet again.
And what a shot by George Hill there. Fadeaway layup, clock running down, and he hits it right at the buzzer. Perfect shot for them to play out. Ersan Ilyasova now gets a steal off of Anthony Davis, and his struggles continue. And that's actually going to be a shooting foul. And big game, some say Anthony Davis is already up there in the all-time power forwards of all time. He's just missing either an MVP, a finals MVP, a finals ring, or a real playoff run. This is his chance right here. And how much do you think this has hurt him actually in those ratings now that we've finally seen him get this far in the playoffs with how he's played?
Well, there's also been talk. Is he a top 5 player in the league right now? Um, not even just all time, where he ranks. I think if he would have had a real dominating performance like we've seen him have throughout the year with LeBron, I think it'd be a whole different game. But because he struggled so badly, I think that just kind of ruins it. I don't think he's in the top 5 right now. I think he's a special talent, but with how he's played, he has not proven to be a top 5 player, in my opinion.
And even before the playoffs, I didn't really think he was in that top 5 category. I know people forget about Steph Curry, especially with his injury, and with how James Harden has been playing the past 3 seasons, he has to be in that top 5 as well. Along with Giannis, you have KD and LeBron. It makes it really tough for Anthony Davis to find a spot in that top 5.
Well, and it doesn't help Davis either. Play with another superstar, and in New Orleans, he really didn't have anyone around him. I mean, Drew Holiday was a borderline all-star, a good guard, but wasn't a real second superstar. Now he has LeBron, so that helps and hurts him a little bit because it takes away some of his shots, but it also helps him on the offensive end because obviously people have to guard LeBron and stop LeBron from driving to the paint.
And we're going to see Caruso, full court shot, no good. And that's how the quarter is going to end. 16-7, all Bucks in the first quarter. And we are back in the second quarter at the Staples Center. Bucks lead 16-7 over the Lakers right now. A really good start for the Bucks. with their starters and their bench, but the Lakers, what's going on with them so far in this game, big game?
Could you repeat that
Um,
question for me?
with how things have gone so far in this game, what's going on with the Lakers offense?
Well, you haven't seen LeBron put up a lot of shots. He's been pretty uh, more passing. So that'll be interesting to see in the second half. I thought the Bucks played pretty good defensively in the paint. They had a couple steals, and they almost got another one there. But Howard bullies his way in, misses though.
And the Lakers have really dominated in the playoffs with their paint presence, but they're finally playing a team who's even more dominant than them in the paint, and that's mainly because of Giannis. Oh, but Caruso there is gonna throw one down in the fast break. Um, but the Bucks have really proved in the past two games that they're a more dominant team in the paint. And if the Lakers want to win here, make a comeback, it's got to start in the paint, as they're not really a three-point shooting team in this playoffs. And look at George Hill, big game. Once again, he is the staple of this Milwaukee bench. He has 8 of the 18 points so far for Milwaukee.
And we've seen him have games where he's had really big quarters. I believe in game one he had all 7 of his points in a row in the second quarter, and that helped the Bucks kind of stretch out their lead in game one. And another turnover, Kuzma gives it up to George Hill here, and the Bucks on the run again, and George Hill will pass it down to Marvin Williams, who throws down a dunk.
And if the Lakers aren't careful here, they're going to have to face Giannis, who's fully rested the rest of that Bucks starting lineup. And that is not what they want to do, especially when they played Anthony Davis almost that full first quarter. And this bench is just dominating their bench. Now George Hill for three. He can't hit. That would have really solidified what George Hill's run's been so far since he's come in off the bench. Oh, and now Robin Lopez swats Morris out of bounds, though. And big game, we saw Kuzma make one hook shot in that first quarter, but the next few times where we saw him go in the post, we saw them tipping the pass immediately if they had a mismatch. Is that something Coach Mike Budenholzer has learned in this series to do against Kuzma?
I think there's a good possibility of that as you saw LeBron there with a nice post hook type fadeaway thing. You think from watching film, yeah, maybe Budenholzer did catch something that he saw to help get their hands more active and fire away on some of these steals that they've gotten.
Giannis takes a mid-range he can't hit. And now LeBron James in the fast break. Easy dunk. And he cuts the lead down to 7. And it seems like the starters are at the scoring table to bring in full starting lineups for each of these teams. But for now, we have a mix of the bench and starters. Hill down the lane. Floater. Looked like it got tipped, but it did not. Giannis now in the paint. And he bruises through Morris. And if you just look at the combination of George Hill has 8 points right now and Giannis has 7 points, there's a lot of room for even more scoring off this Bucks team, as we've yet to see a mix of Bledsoe or Middleton yet. So the Lakers should not feel good at all in this first half, down 9. Oh, and a bad foul there by Kyle Korver, but at least gets the starters in for both teams. But not a good foul there, as there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock, and it would have been a LeBron James fadeaway 3. And Anthony Davis in the paint. He can't score again, and now Giannis in the fast break. And he's going to go right down the lane. 2-hand slam. 11-point lead from Milwaukee. Big game. What's it going to take for the Lakers to change around their defense or their offense in this game?
Well, offensively, you saw LeBron score a couple of buckets there to cut the lead a little bit. Obviously, the Bucks have answered with their own of their own. I'd expect to see LeBron James kind of take over here. You can expect the same with Anthony Davis. You're gonna need, your stars to show up. That's really what they're gonna need if they want to come back in this game.
Well, the issue is LeBron James has showed up, and he has 9 points right now. Giannis misses a Fadeaway hook, he looked like over McGee. Good defense there. But LeBron James has 9 of the 15 points for the Lakers, and someone else needs to step up, like you said, probably Anthony Davis, but maybe one of the other veterans between Danny Green or Avery Bradley can find a run in their own. LeBron fadeaway, can't hit. And we're under a minute now. Here comes Giannis down the lane. It's another posterizer on Anthony Davis. He is just embarrassing him in these last 3 games, and he is just showing no remorse.
And it's strange to see Anthony Davis struggle this poorly on defense. He's been late now a couple times on Giannis drives. And now an offensive rebound to Giannis.
And you know who that's against? Anthony Davis. And now he fouls him off the offensive rebound. It's his first foul. Giannis hits both free throws, and this is a 13-point game. And the Lakers only have 15 points around the end of the second quarter now with 20 seconds left.
And I believe this will be their low if they don't score a couple other buckets here. They're low for a half. The first half, at least. I mean, their last two fourth or second halves of game 4 and 5 also were pretty poor. But we'll see how poor they have been here in this first half. And it's not just their poor shooting or poor defense. It's been how poorly they've given the ball away multiple times, allowed fast break for the Bucks. And Bledsoe puts up a tough jumper at the horn, no good.
And that's how it's going to end. We go into halftime, 28-17. The Bucks lead by 11. And we'll be back soon with our halftime show. And we are here with our halftime show of Game 6 in the Staples Center. All Bucks by surprise. This might be their best first half of the series so far, and surprising to say, the Lakers are having one of their worst first halves of all the playoffs. We see them shooting 33% here, and the Lakers have been a team where they get a big lead in that first half, and then they can just kind of relax more in the second half and just have an average second half. But the past 2 games, Milwaukee's proved if they stick around, they're not going to let you win the game in the second half, and they've dominated the Lakers. And now, look at this situation, big game. What do you think?
I see the Lakers have 0 steals or blocks. The Bucks, obviously, with 3 steals and a block. I think that's spoken a lot what's happening in this game. The Lakers shooting very poorly again. This time in the first half. Giannis obviously having another great game. It's going to be tough for the Lakers to come back in this series, but they have the star power to do it.
And we are back in the second half for the third quarter of Game 6 of the NBA Simulation Finals. Milwaukee leads by 11 right now, but we'll see if LeBron James and the Lakers have a run in them. Not a good start there. A miss to start, but they get the offensive board, but now a block. And here come the Lakers defense. Good first possession for them. Avery Bradley, though, misses a wide open layup.
They can't corral the rebound either.
And we've seen this play many times, big game. A handoff to LeBron. But Middleton's done a good job so far covering that. I don't know if the Lakers have another play up their sleeve. It just hasn't been effective so far. But Anthony Davis coming out with energy with a block, and now he gets the offensive rebound out to Avery Bradley. Not much Wesley Matthews can do there against Anthony Davis. He did a pretty good job holding the paint, holding his own in the paint, but Davis just powers through. Double screen for Middleton. Can't get the shot off. But he gets the mid-range off instead. He can hit. And it seems like the Lakers might have an opening for a run.
Wonder if they can get more mismatches like they had last time with Davis on Wesley Matthews. That'll be good because Davis should score those most of the time as LeBron is fouled there and misses the layup.
And now LeBron is 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Now 3 of 4. It wouldn't be the worst idea for them to slow down the pace of the game and get Anthony Davis and LeBron more free throws in this game. And big game, we're going to see a quick change out of the Lakers. They bring in Morris, putting Anthony Davis at center immediately with only a minute and 30 into the third quarter. Interesting move.
It is interesting. I'm shocked by it as LeBron scores yet again. I'm surprised that they're going to give that much size up to Lopez and Giannis. But it may be for offensive purposes. Maybe they feel Morris can also score and take advantage.
So far, Davis has done a good job in the second half, but he can't stop that one. Fade away. LeBron down the lane, and he passes to Davis, and Davis doing a great job offensively and defensively. Big game. What do you think that's the result of? Maybe a talk with the coach or the team itself, or just Anthony Davis having a good start?
Well, I'd have to guess Frank Vogel, who's been to many Eastern Conference Finals with Paul George and the Pacers. I'm sure he had something to say. I'm sure LeBron James, who's been in the finals multiple times, been in this situation, being down multiple times, had something to say at halftime. And I'm sure Anthony Davis probably took it to heart because, this is also his team, and he has not provided the help that they've needed.
And still the Bucks are going to leave Middleton, Giannis, Lopez, and Bledsoe in, but now Dante DiVincenzo subs in for Middleton. While the Lakers bring in Caruso, Pope, and Kuzma off the bench. Middleton in the paint. Passes it out to Lopez. We'll see if he uses the mismatch with Kuzma on him. DiVincenzo's got to pass quickly to Giannis. He's got to get the shot off. What a hook shot as the shot clock runs down. The Bucks still
And
hold a
Giannis,
9-point lead.
and Giannis with that fadeaway now, that little hook there, being the only scoring source for the Bucks here in the second half, keeping this lead a little bit larger than it could be if the Lakers would have gotten some stops.
Yeah, despite the slow half so far from the Bucks, they're still up by 9, and it just shows despite LeBron and Anthony Davis doing a decent job to start this third quarter, there's just been too many mistakes both ways. Now Bledsoe, fadeaway three, can't hit. LeBron into the paint. It's going to be Lakers ball. Wow, DiVincenzo must have hit it last second. Lakers can't capitalize. Oh, and Robin Lopez absolutely swats Dwight Howard. Now DiVincenzo scores, and that is a big change of events in the third quarter.
And what a finish there by DiVincenzo. Contact could have been an end one. Finishes anyway. It was a fancy, nice little underhand roller that he got to go.
We're still going to see Davis out there, big game for the Lakers. They really need something from their other star tonight. And Pope hits a three. Lakers would really like him to step up, as he's really been absent in the series since game 1 and 2, where he had a great 2 games off the bench.
If they can get a couple buckets here out of Caldwell Pope and Kuzma, that's a great sign.
Wow, and Ilyasova somehow gets a rebound over Howard and Davis, and now Howard fouls there to... No, they're actually going to leave Davis in once again, and big game. We're probably going to see a fourth quarter of mainly LeBron James. It's a risky move, but Frank Vogel really needs this game to be close going into the fourth.
And I think it's probably the right move. Somebody is Avery Bradley hits a deep two there. Somebody like LeBron James has experience and has put in big buckets in the fourth quarter of finals games. Davis, obviously, this is his first time in the finals, so I think it's a good move by Frank Vogel to allow LeBron James to rest now and bring him in for a big fourth quarter run that the Lakers are going to need to have.
And there's George Hill once again, just puts the ball near his hip and somehow puts it in over Rajon Rondos. Rondos had no chance stopping that. Now Ilyasova tries to block Davis and cannot. Davis hits it with 0.2 seconds left, and that's how the quarter's going to end. 38-32 going to the fourth. The Bucks 1 quarter away from the NBA Finals trophy, or could it be the Lakers extending this to a Game 7? And we are back in the fourth quarter for our State Farm assist of the game. Eric Bledsoe throws an alley-oop right over JaVale McGee to Giannis Antetokounmpo in the first quarter. And that was our State Farm assist of the game after a huge first quarter for the Bucks. And big game, we're going to see probably the bench early for the Lakers. And Anthony Davis heated up in that third quarter, but yet they're still down by 6, and they're going to leave him out there as well. How much will fatigue affect Anthony Davis going forward in the fourth quarter?
Well, it is the finals game. You know, they could go home after this, so it's not surprising. See Davis still out there. They're going to need all they can get out of these guys as Howard finishes there.
It seems Coach Budenholzer does not like the lineup in right now, as Lopez already subbing in very quickly, as Marvin Williams and Ersan Ilyasova aren't going to stand much of a chance on the rebound game, as Davis and Howard are going to dominate in the paint. Connaughton, deep three, can't bank it, and the Lakers just cutting the lead very slowly, but they're looking to finally either tie this up or get the lead. And Davis misses a layup, but Howard's there. And that's a quick timeout by the Bucks. You look at the scoring by quarter, it hasn't even been the best game for the Bucks in that second and third quarter, only 12 and 10, but their defense has showed up in the whole game, and the Lakers still find themselves down, as this is one of the lowest scoring games so far. And the only one absent, or the only ones absent so far, are Middleton and Giannis in the Bucks lineup. We'll see who else comes in, though. Wesley Matthews, followed by Danny Green. He'll go to the line for 2. Not a bad play out of the timeout, as they can get 2 easy shots here, and Matthews finishes both. They have a 4-point lead again. And big game now, we're going to see LeBron James and Middleton subbing at the same time. What changes do you expect to see out of the Lakers now? And LeBron and 1 over Ilyasova. And that's going to do it for Ilyasova, as Giannis is subbing immediately after the and 1.
When you saw Middleton, it looked like they said double screen possible 3-point play for LeBron. But LeBron got the ball at the top key that just blew by Middleton. And the only one in his way was Ilyasova, and he just threw down a dunk right over him. Well, now a 1-point game. And now on the other end, Brook Lopez with a little fancy pass, lob to Giannis, who throws down a one-handed jam right back at you, LeBron. And we have a dunk fest now as the 2 superstars have checked into the game.
And, it's surprising. That was the first time that give-and-go play worked for the Lakers the whole game, as Middleton's done a good job getting around the screen, but with that double screen now, it made it a bit harder. And now Wesley Matthews forces Danny Green out of bounds. Anthony Davis doesn't even let Giannis get to the three-point line, but Brook Lopez there, and he hits his second three of the game. He's already hit more threes in this game than he's had the entire series big game. Maybe he's finally showing out.
Well, this is the Brook Lopez that the Bucks have needed in every game, but they haven't gotten it. But here tonight is he's found his stroke from downtown. It's now a lob from LeBron to Davis, and right back at you. Another dunk here for the Lakers.
And you just look at the comparison there: 19 points, 12 rebounds for Giannis. Only Anthony Davis has 10 points, 2 rebounds. Now we know Giannis usually has more of a control over the rebounds, with Brook Lopez not being as big of a rebounder as JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard. But now Giannis and one as Danny Green fouls him. Not a smart play there. But the matchup between Giannis and Anthony Davis hasn't been close the whole series. There might have been one game in this series where Anthony Davis outplayed Giannis, and it's just been very obvious in the series who's been the better player.
You see, Davis now checks out of the game. I'll be interested to see how long he sits and what happens here is the Bucks with a block there and have a chance to extend the lead yet again. Back down to Giannis. No fadeaway over Kuzma. Got it. And the lead back up to 8 for the Bucks here with 2:33 left in the fourth quarter.
And big game when you're in game 6 of a deciding game right here. How does a coach right now like Mike Budenholzer keep his team calm to make sure they finish out the game and ensure victory right now in the fourth quarter?
Well, I think you'll see if the Lakers miss some more shots, you'll see the Bucks kind of take their time. Offensively, waste some clock. I think defensively, obviously, you don't want to allow any and ones or really any easy shot. There's a block there by Lopez.
LeBron James for three, rolls out. And big game with how Giannis has played in his past 3 games. In all honesty, he struggled in games 2 and 3, and it was really the media all were thinking that he was done. It was just the spotlight was too much for him in the finals, but now with how he's played another basket here in the fourth quarter, he's taken over in the past 3 games, and he is 2 minutes away from leading the Bucks to a finals trophy. How did he turn it around from games 2 and 3 struggles to games 4 through 6 now of just pure dominance?
Well, a big thing was, we saw him, struggle last year against the Raptors and get shut down. Is there another block, I believe, by Lopez? And we saw the Bucks kind of self-destruct and lose 4 straight games to the Raptors, and they were on that same path here in the finals. They won the first game. They really didn't have any heat in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I mean, obviously Brooklyn was really their biggest match, and that was all on the back of Kyrie Irving and the big men. So I think you saw it come out here. He didn't let the media get to his head. He didn't allow much to affect him or distract him. As a nice tip in there by JaVale McGee, but a loose ball fall on Kuzma. It's not an and one. It's loose ball fall on Kuzma. The Bucks still lead by 10 with 1:10 left now.
And big game, the most surprising thing about these past 3 games, 2 of the games have been on the road for the Bucks. Yet they find themselves that they're about to win the NBA Finals with a minute left, up by 10.
Well, they played great at home and on the road all season long. So it's not surprised to see them come into a building and win multiple times like they did here in LA. And obviously they were great at home, and the Lakers beat them once at home. Obviously, there's the 2 best teams in the league, so it just shows how tough this team is to beat. And nobody could beat them this year as the Bucks extend the lead back to 10 with less than 30 seconds left now. It's all but a guaranteed wrap.
And an obvious point in this game, Giannis Antetokounmpo is our player of the game. as he just has dominated most of this game, and specifically in the second half. That stretch in the third quarter where he allowed the Bucks to keep that 6 to 9 point lead was enough for them to hang on to the fourth as well. And that's your final, 55-45 on the road. The Milwaukee Bucks are your NBA simulation final champs as they win in 6. And we're going to head right into our post-game show, along with announcing some of our awards. And big game, we look at the Lakers first. It was just another story of where did the offense go, except it was the first half that really doomed them from the start, and that fourth quarter didn't get much better. They made the comeback. They found themselves down 2. Mike Budenholzer comes in, puts all the starters back in, and immediately the lead goes back up. And you look here, LeBron James shows up, but not to his best in the past 3 games. We know he usually shoots over 55% in these finals games, and he's been shooting around 40 to 45%, struggling from three-point line, but it's really been Anthony Davis is the story. Just hasn't been able to find himself over 12 points, and his rebound numbers have been very low. Anything else on the Lakers side, and maybe just a general statement on their season as well?
Well, Lakers, they had a great run. Obviously, they expected an NBA Finals victory, holding up the trophy, but they couldn't complete it. Obviously, in a do or die game, you have Dwight Howard as your third leading scorer with 4 points is pretty unacceptable. And we see LeBron showed from 3-point line. The Lakers as a whole did. They shot pretty poor as a team, especially in that first half. And as you said, it kind of doomed them. In the past 2 games before this, we saw the second half doom them, and here we saw the first half doom them, and they just couldn't put together a big enough run to take the lead away from the Bucks or come back and win this game. But it was a good year for the Lakers. You'll see them look to acquire some more pieces in the offseason. Could see them make a trade for somebody. LeBron James will always be looking for more help. Um, yeah, and you move on. LeBron another finals loss here. Hurts his resume a little bit, but at this point, he made it to another finals. Strong year for the Lakers, but Bucks were too much for him.
Now, a question before we move on to the Bucks here. We know Anthony Davis hasn't signed that contract yet. Is he coming back, especially after this disappointing finals?
Well, I would think yes, especially after this disappointing finals, because you figure his best chance to get back there is probably with the Lakers. Um, and for him to redeem himself, you got to get back there. We saw how good him and LeBron worked all year long, so I think you'll see him back. But if he doesn't come back, there's rumors about the Bulls, his hometown, the Bulls potential fit. Obviously, the Knicks have been looking for superstars for the past how many years, ever since they traded away Carmelo Anthony, and they've not made the playoffs in a while. So I think those are your two front runners for him if he were so to leave the LA Lakers this offseason.
All right, and we're gonna move on to the champion Bucks. As how far has Giannis Antetokounmpo came? After last year's disappointing loss to the Raptors with how dominant they were in the regular season, everyone started saying it's just a repeat season for the Bucks. They're having a dominant regular season. They won't show up. Well, they can't say that anymore as Giannis 29 points, 14 rebounds in game 6, and he's been the player of the game in every game that the Bucks have won, and including these last 3 to go on a winning streak, winning 2 or 3 on the road to end the finals, just unbelievable. And look at Brook Lopez. Bucks fans were probably not pleased with how he's performed so far in this finals, but he came out to play tonight and he made 2 threes and hit a key fadeaway mid-range, and big game that fourth quarter defensive run by him where he had 3 blocks. A really great showing of his defensive talents.
Yeah, and in its game, obviously, we didn't see Middleton score the ball very well or Bledsoe. So for Brook Lopez to be step up and be that guy, that was a big key for the Bucks to win this game. And obviously, we continue to see George Hill play very great in this series. Very big on the road, did a great job, and obviously Giannis, continue to put up his stat line that he has all playoffs long, and he'll be taking away this Finals MVP without a doubt.
And that's just crazy to think that Eric Bledsoe and Middleton combined for 2 points in this game, yet the Bucks win by 10. And that just speaks volumes to how deep this team was. And you're right, there's no question about it. Not only was he the Finals MVP, but a unique reward that we're giving out in this simulation playoff was who was the MVP of the playoffs. And if we were to give our top three big game, who would yours be right now? Obviously, with Giannis at number one.
Well, yeah, the clear series after series. He kind of spread himself out from the rest of the crowd. I'd put LeBron James at number two. Obviously, he really carried the Lakers to these finals. Didn't have a couple of great games in the finals. Shot a little bit poor, but still to get the Lakers to finals, I felt he was number two. And number three was tough. We saw Russell Westbrook play like a superstar in that first round against Denver and continue to score the ball pretty well. But he had so many games where he shot so poor, it kind of ended up hurting the Rockets. And obviously, they got swept by the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. But the Eastern Conference Finals, we saw Kyrie Irving carry his Brooklyn Nets. And what we didn't think was going to be a team that was even going to make a run with no Kevin Durant this year, and lead his team to the Eastern Conference Finals and took the Bucks, a couple of games longer than people expected. And he had, very solid scoring almost every game. He was putting in buckets, a great three-point shooter. Was getting people involved with a lot of assist totals early in the playoffs. I believe he did tie for the assist leader in these playoffs, or assist high in a game. So Kyrie Irving would be my third choice at MVP.
And that's a great list there. As the tough choice, to be honest, you're right, is whether it was Kyrie Irving or Westbrook at number three. And the disappointing misses, if you'd have to say, is the fact that James Harden, we can't even mention him, maybe besides having one good game, and that's just another one of his bad playoff runs. Yet they found themselves in the Western Conference Finals. And another one, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, really disappointing against those Rockets. But now we're going to move on to the team comparison. This game six, the Bucks didn't even have their best three-point shooting, but they shot 50%, were consistent this whole game as they were the past two games, and that's why they've been crowned the champions of the league. And there's really no other team that earned it like them, especially throughout the past three games. They proved their worth, especially when everyone was down on them after three games. And Big Game, any final notes on the Bucks season and what it means for them to be champions?
Well, obviously, it's a great feat. Um, to be a champion. We saw the Raptors do it last year with Kawhi Leonard, taking control of the team and leading the way and bringing Toronto a championship. And we saw that this year with the Bucks. We saw them come back better and stronger. Giannis, better and stronger. Another, MVP level season. Really breaking his way into being talked about as one of the greats. And obviously, a Finals MVP and a Finals, victory always helps out your story. When you end your career. And they just, they got outworked on the glass almost every game this series. We talked about offensive rebounds, and the Lakers almost on most of those just couldn't capitalize, and that does not bond well with how poorly they shot in the first half of this game and the second half of the last two games. And the Bucks took full advantage of that as they did all year long. Very rare for them to go into scoring droughts, and they didn't, like you said, didn't have the greatest game, but it didn't matter. They took care of business, and they're the NBA champs.
And that's all we have. Look for our viewer leaderboard bracket coming out soon with the final standings. And thanks for joining us.